Hello everyone, this is AC, your animal companion here. I've got another guide for you today for Orie in Uni 2, and today's topic is combo enders and Okizeme, or Oki. So in this guide I'm just going to be going through your different options when you end a combo with Orie and what you should be doing to your opponent on Wake Up to try to maintain an advantage afterwards. So pretty straightforward topic, let's get right into it. The way I've organized this, before we get into the actual strategy, I'm going to talk about a couple moves that you get really bad knockdowns from. The first is kind of notorious, Orie's throw. Midscreen throw from Orie is the worst reward off of throw in the game. She cannot meaty, it is not close, they are sent full screen, and you have plus 37, like you see that advantage in the top right there. You're plus 37, but you can't really do too much about it. So I have my opponent set to back tech here, which is the tech that they want to do if they want to avoid, holding any pressure. So you'll see, I'll actually set them to, what do I set them to, like, jump, so you can see how far away I am from being able to meaty them. Yeah, that's a punish. You just should not be doing that. Anyways, so you can't really meaty them. So what are your options? I think one of my favorite things is to do, like, run up 2 and 4 at about this range, maybe a little bit closer. It's not going to meaty them, but if you do it from, like, this range, it doesn't even have to hit them, it just occupies space, and will make sure that your opponent can't just mash buttons or dash in and start pressure. There is a little bit of a mix-up between, like, a 2 and 4 A and a jump, because if they just, like, reversal assault, something like this, you see, they can just go right over the 2 and 4 and you're going to get punished. So that's bad news, and also if they jump, that's also bad news. So there's a little bit of a mind game there. If you want to be better against us jumps, you can do something like dash 2 and 4B. That's just a punish, but that's a pretty hard call out on jump. You can also do something like run up like 3B or 5B to call out them jumping, but the long and short of it is, if you do this, you're going to have to just dash up and place him neutral. You'll have a slight advantage when you place him neutral. One technique that you can do is like a dash B thrust. So Orie has a B thrust which has good range, and she also has a good dash, but doing a B thrust out of a dash is really difficult because Orie has a DP. So if I try to do that, like dash and then B thrust like that, you can see I just get a DP in the middle of the screen and I probably get punished. There's a new technique for Uni 2 where you can do 2 through 6 AB, so 2 through 6 dash macro, and then plink a B afterwards. And I think the way you want to do this is dash like that. So you do dash and then 2 3 6 dash B thrust, and you can see there I did it pretty much perfectly, and it still doesn't meaty back tech, but it will hit them if they do like a forward tech or if they try to hit a button. Like that. It's not going to catch a ton, but it's an option there. You can decide for yourself whether or not that's worth the effort it is to learn, this technique. If nothing else, it's pretty cool. Okay, so those are some okay options off of throw. Nothing's going to be great. One thing that is very, very bad off of throw, and that I think you should almost never do, is throw into 2-2. This is my farthest range meterless 2-2, and you can see it's not even close. It will kind of cover the middle of the screen if they want to run in, but they can also just not run into the orb, they can shield the orb. It's really not consistent at all. And even worse, actually I'm going to control the other Orie. I'm going to have her do throw into 2-2C. So it's an idea a lot of people have. Do this, it tracks full screen, and she's very plus afterwards, right? And then you say, oh, well, after that, Orie can do run up assault JA, or run up 6B, something like that. The issue is, if your opponent knows what to do against this, you can pretty much mitigate the mix-up entirely. So I'm going to record this player 2 Orie doing throw, 2-2C, then dash, assault, JA. That looks good, but let's see what happens if you do it against an actual opponent. I messed things up with the CS there. Actually, I'm going to turn cycle off so you can just see how much you can mash shield. You can do better, I'll just do default so you can see the grid gain. That's pretty much what you're giving up. You're giving up about 3 or 4 blocks of grid to be barely plus, because the shields push your Orie really far away. They turn Assault JA from a 23 frame overhead to something like a 30 frame overhead. It's not threatening at all, and you just get standard pressure off it. This is a very bad use of 100 meter. The exception to that rule, I think, is whenever your opponent is grid broken and they can't shield. In that case, this is fine to do. So if you get a grid break throw mid-screen, you can 2-2C, that's fine. But most circumstances, I would not recommend it. Also, good news, when you get a throw in the corner, you can just melee them. You can 2-2 here, but I don't think it's a great option. It's a fine option, but it's not a great option. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we get into other 2-2 Oki setups from other enders. Okay, so next section of things that are bad knockdowns. Turn off their guard. This B thrust gives you a knockdown, but they can back tech, and you are plus 13 all the way over here. This is almost no knockdown at all. Like, if they forward tech, then I think you can technically like stop them from mashing like that, but if they back tech, like we'll see here, they can just walk back or jump. Yeah, I'll just show a jump. So, and that's a punish. You're dying for that. So, off of this knockdown, you're just back in neutral. That's fine. Just play some neutral, you'll be alright. Last kind of bad knockdown, which is worth talking about, is BDP. To some extent, Sacred Spire kind of falls into this category as well. See, you're only plus 19 off of that. You're only plus 16 off of that. And when they back tech, it's hard to get a good meaty. If you are perfect, you can get like a dash 5A and it'll actually stuff a neutral jump. See that? That's good. And it'll also stuff a reversal button. But then you can kind of see kind of the hazards of trying to clock in dash A. Better option might be dash 2B. That's a better meaty. And I think the most consistent one of all is 660. That's always going to catch, as long as they get hit by it and they're in range. Where this is iffy is that was a clean hit, like all 6 hits of BDP, and from that, your Oki is fine. But a lot of times you're going to be spaced like right here, and you get a CS, and you'll get a DP that is like maybe only 1 hit. A little bit bit hard to replicate, but trust me, if you... like that, the single hit DPs, those are a lot harder to get consistent Oki off of. So, I put this section in here to kind of highlight 6-6C as an Oki option is really nice whenever it's a bad knockdown and you need to get over there quickly. It is pretty bad on block. Like, the RPS situation after they block this is not favorable. A lot of times, Orie is just going to, like, get shielded or have to FF. So it's not great, but if you are just concerned with catching them pressing a button or backdashing on wake up, it's a good option off of certain knockdowns. Okay, so that is it for our bad knockdowns. Let's get into some of our better ones. For the mid-screen enders, I'm going to have them guard the first hit, and then just do the combo, and you can see the advantage. So our first knockdown is 2-4B, or 6-6C, 2-4B. This ender is nice because it does a good amount of corner carry, and it gives you a hard knockdown afterwards. You can see I have them set to backwards tech. I can still dash up, react to their tech, and then just melee them on wake up. And that's honestly what I recommend you do off of this knockdown mid-screen probably 80+% of the time. I think this is just a very solid knockdown. That one's only plus 32 because it's a little bit of a weird hit. And you're just going to... your highest reward for a block string starter is oftentimes going to be A-normals. A-normals have great stagger windows, they're great on block, and they let you represent tick throw and go into strike throw. And most people, including you, if you've read my guides, have good block strings off of your A-normals. So, meeting with this is actually the highest reward thing you can do on block most of the time. And I think it's especially important. I scream at new players that if you're playing against a character who you know does not like to block, we're talking about our Gordos, our Merkavas, our Hildas, like the dive kick happy, backdash happy, reversal happy characters, meaty them every time. If they don't have meter, meaty them every time. Even if they do have meter, occasionally you're going to get DP'd or VO'd for meeting them with a 5A, but it's still, the risk reward is in your favor if you just meaty them nearly every time and you continue to run good offense. So that's what I'm going to recommend 80% of the time mid-screen off of this knockdown whenever you do it, and this is a very good knockdown because it just gives you everything you want, corner carry, advantage, and damage. You should just be meeting most of the time. Once you get high into the layers of offense, you can start doing stuff like, whoops, do the same combo, delayed throw, and also if they like to do backdash on wake up, that is something that's actually pretty easy to cover while still maintaining maintaining pressure. So I'm gonna show hide backdash. Yeah. Turn it off for now. And the only thing I did there was get up to their meaty range and then just do 2C 2A with. 2C is active enough to catch most backdashes, and you get a full combo off of it. So that's a nice option if you want to cover backdashes specifically while not giving up your turn too hard on block, because this is a fine string on block. So I like that option. Okay, let's go to our next combo ender. The next combo ender is our max damage ender. And instead of 2-4B, we're going to do 2-4AA. As you can see, that is an air tech, so you're plus 29, sometimes you're plus around 30. But because it's an air tech, they can tech backwards, and they can also tech really far forwards. See the variation there? That means that oftentimes if you like dash in after this ender and try to meaty them, you're just going to like end up on the other side and in confusing frame advantage, and your pressure off of this is probably not going to be as clean. But I still think this is an ender worth doing in a couple situations. One of my favorite ones is, you see the grid bar at the bottom there? If it's about right here on the cycle, where it's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or later, I like this option because it allows you to play for getting the cycle. I'll try to see if I can demonstrate that. Yeah, this is about where I would do it. So, started around right here. So, if the cycle is close, and you do this combo ender, first of all, it's the longest combo ender, or it's the longest combo you can do. So, when you passively gain grid during the combo, that'll be more grid because the combo is longer, and then you can tap concentrate like that, and then still be blocking. If they back tech from here, you pretty much automatically win the cycle. If they forward tech, then you can just block, you can threaten shield, and you can play a strike throw situation, or you can meaty. So, if they back tech, they automatically lose the cycle. If they forward tech, you have, I'd say, an advantageous RPS situation, both to win the cycle and to frame trap them for trying to, like, throw you or punish you for your strategy. So I like that strategy. Also, maybe you're playing against a character where they have cycle and they're threatening reversal CS, and you can't really mess with that. So characters that I think have an advantage with CS over Orie, I'd be thinking of like Linnae or Wagner, maybe Eltnum. Characters with very good 5As, 5-frame 5As that can stop Orie from jumping. It can be difficult to get good Oki against them. And so you can just kind of forego good Oki and just do the double A-Stin ender and just play some more neutral. And maybe if you have a cycle advantage and they're trying to like leverage their CS before cycle ends, then you can mitigate that by going for this ender. So I like the ender in those two situations. Next, we're going to talk about 5cc steer ender, or 6cc steer ender. Steer ender is new addition to Uni 2 and was majorly buffed in the last patch for this version. You can see it leaves you plus 47, so massive, massive frame advantage. And Orie has a good steer ender because, as you can see here, if you use it after 6cc, it goes pretty much the entire screen for corner carry. That's probably its main benefit, is massive corner carry while also giving you very, very good Oki. But it has a pretty significant cost. I am going to keep the grid cycle on default so you can see how that interacts with it. And I'm going to also do default meter. I'm going to do a regular combo with a 2-4B ender, then I'm going to do the same combo with the 6cc steer ender. Okay, so that built me 74 meter and them 36. See, that one built them 45, and it also cost me grid. So, whenever you do this, it costs grid, and it costs, and it gives them a significant amount of meter. So, that pretty much means you shouldn't be just defaulting to Seer Ender, even though it is a really strong tool. It has real resource costs, and giving your opponent too many resources in this game is a bad strategy. But it is still worth it, I think, especially when it's going to bring you to the corner. When you get them in the corner for Oki, it's probably worth it most of the time. And also there are some situations where maybe your opponent already has 200 meter, maybe you definitely are winning the next cycle, so you using Seer Ender doesn't matter. There's going to be a lot of resource intensive decision places where you can see, oh, Seer Ender has no penalty here, I'm just going to use that for a little bit more damage, a little bit more corner carry, and a little bit better Oki. So it's nice to have the option. And we said it has better Oki, and it does, so what are your Oki options? The simplest one that I like a lot, is you're just going to do dash up meaty 5A and 2A again, but because it has so much advantage, you can actually run them to the corner before you do the meaty. You might see like Byakuya do this after throw. I think that's the most famous example. See, I was able to like run them farther into the corner, wait for their wake up, and then still meaty them. So that's a nice little option. Just a pretty ridiculous amount of corner carry. It's about 3/4 screen for meterless combo. And you still get your 5A, 2A, which I think is your highest reward meaty on block. Okay, let's go to the next Oki option. We're going to talk about Orb. So this is our first Oki setup that deals with Orb. I think I messed this up. Oh, no, I didn't. So, Orb is nice in situations when you have the advantage to set it. How it works is the Orb does not exactly hit meaty, but because you were plus 47, like Orie can block after frame 38 or so, and then the move hits at something at like frame 50 something, I don't know. Let's say they have about 5 to 10 frames of being active and awake before the Orb hits them. And during that time, Orie can block. So when you're doing this Orb, the advantage is that they can't DP, they can't throw you, right? You just get to sit here, and if they do a reversal, it meaties for you. And then if they block it, you are plus 28 on block. So this is nice against opponents who are very mashy, very antsy on wake up. You don't think they're going to sit still. This is going to be a very safe Oki option. It's not exactly meaty, but it will stop them from just pressing buttons on you. Okay. It's also worth noting that since I'm mid-screen, I am doing 2-2B every time. If I do 2-2A and they back tech, it'll just whiff. I'll show what that looks like. So 2-2A whiffs, that's why I do 2-2B, it covers back tech. And after they block it, you're plus 28 on block. That is plus enough, even out here, to dash up and get your pressure going. You're not going to be able to do anything like incredible, like if you do dash up 6B, that's still going to be mashable. If you do dash up like delayed throw, like it's not crazy advantage, it's just good enough for you to start your pressure going. You can also do stuff like 2-2B, dash in, then like walk back, try to whiff punish, a mash attempt, stuff like that. So it is pretty nice. Its biggest downside is that if they just do a wake up stand shield, let's say. Gosh. So I'm gonna do just the same combo. So, you see, they had a pretty massive grid swing there. That's because this 66C, this 66C is going to cost me grid when I do it, or 66C Surrender is going to cost me grid when I do it at the end of the combo, and then, because the orb is just 20, it's such a slow startup, you can really easily react to the startup and just shield it. And when Orie does that, as you can see, it pretty much mitigates all of my grid gain from doing the combo. I'm now losing cycle off of my Oki. So it is very grid negative. Particularly when you do it off of Surrender, but like I said, I think you should mostly be doing this option when your opponent's getting very antsy on Wake Up. Okay, let's go for the next one. Next section. So, next section is 2C options. Something I didn't talk about is there's a lot of combos where instead of 6C 2 and 4B, you can also do 2C, 4C, 2 and 4B, and it's exactly the same. So, like, if I did this combo, the old universal B and B, I can do 2C, 4C, 2 and 4B, and it's going to be the same advantage as 6C. Okay, so with that being said, that is not what I mean when I say 2C Oki options. Whenever I say 2C Oki options, I'm mostly thinking of it about combos that have a bounce left. So, for example, if you do something like this combo, and do a basic 5A, 5C jump cancel combo, that's pretty much the whole combo, right? But you still have a bounce left. You can see the bar was not orange. That means there was still more combo left there. And if I try to do a 6-6C, it drops. So what can I do there? I can actually just do another 2C. Because 2C is faster than 6-6C. Whoops. And get a little bit of extra damage. So I'll do it one more time without the 2C extra 2C OTG. Because I think I messed it up the first time because I was talking. 32-29. Whoops. And that's 33-45. So, for this section, I'm talking about that last 2C OTG that you pretty much are only going to get in combo routes that don't use all of your bounces. And that's going to come up a little bit more than you might think. Like, this is a pretty lazy combo. Like, I can do a lot better. But there are also some, like, I think the practically up, like, highest damage you can get off of this starter is that, and that uses the 2C OTG at the end. So there are practical combos that if you're on point, you can say, hey, I have a bounce left, I should do a 2C OTG Oki option for a little bit of extra damage. And the most basic one is what I've been showing, which is 2C 5B Surrender. So again, regular combo, and then you get that ender, which is still plus 47, it still costs grid, it still gives your opponent meter. It's a fine Oki option because it is the most damaging one, but but it does have real resource costs. I usually only default to this one if I'm doing a combo like, oops. Like that. You see, that is a combo from a weird starter and it's really prorated, so it's if I didn't do that 2C OTG, I would have gotten like 2,500 damage, and that's just not enough. So I'll usually always do it on that starter, but I also don't plan to get that starter super often. Once you land the Steer Ender, you can do the same Oki options as we discussed before. So what other Oki options do you have for the 2C OTG? You can do 2C and then a delayed 2-2. Oops. Actually, I'm gonna put myself in the corner. This used to be how you set up 2-2 Oki in Uni 1 back in ST and CLR, which you had to do 2C, delay 2-2. This is still a good setup. The 2C adds a little bit of extra damage, and then the 2-2 here is pretty safe, covers both tech forward and tech back, and you get good frame advantage, so it's a nice option. You can still very easily shield it on wake up, so it can give your opponent a little bit of grid, but at least you're not also bleeding grid with a Steer Ender. So that option's pretty nice. And if you want to play it very conservatively, just get more damage from a 2C OTG, but not give your opponent any grid, this option. Just 2C 2A with. As you can see, still good frame advantage, you're plus 29, that's enough to do dash up 5A, dash up 2A. Doesn't add very much damage at all, but it does use all your bounces, and it is better than just leaving a bounce on the table. So there you go. Okay, so that's all the mid-screen enders, so now we're going to talk about corner enders. Corner enders, this is where you can start getting tricky and you have a lot of options. We'll start off with our B&B, which is the 6C, 2 and 4B ender. It's the same frame advantage in the corner as it is mid-screen. As you can see, plus 35. But you have more options now. So your first option is going to be meaty 5A and 2A, which are still good for the same reasons as they were. And mid-screen, because a lot of your best offense starts with 2As and 5As. But here, I also think you should consider whether you want to do the 2A and 5A here, point blank, or you want to do it out here, spaced. The reason why you would want to do it spaced is because, first of all, Orie still gets good pressure from here from her 5A, because her 5A is incredible. But also, it's better at covering wake up roll. I'll show what that looks like. First, I'm going to do a meaty 2A point blank, and then I'm going to try to react to the roll and throw it. Missed it. Got it. So that is how difficult it is to punish a wake up roll if you meaty them in the corner. It is a pretty tight reaction. People are going to drop it in tournament. That's how I'll describe it. That is a very droppable Oki setup. But let's see what that looks like if we do a space 5A. There we go. That one's a lot easier. You don't have to, like... If you do... like that, you have to do your 2A and then know exactly when its animation ends so you can get a dash after they cross you up, so it's not a back dash, and then react and back throw them. It's pretty tight, but with this, you just literally stand in place and press throw. It's a lot easier. So if you notice your opponent's liking to do a lot of wake up roll, try meet with space 5A. Still get good pressure afterwards, and you can throw the roll pretty easily. Also, you are in the corner, so you can start doing some frame kill options. If you don't know, a frame kill is some move that you do that takes some certain amount of frames, and you do it to help you time a meaty button. Orie has two that I see pretty frequently that I think are pretty good. I'll show what they look like now. So the first one is Whiff 66B. This is one that I love. I do it a lot because this move is just visually confusing and it's forward moving. So like doing this, it's easy to kind of obscure what you're doing right afterwards. And it's plus 35, and so doing a 23 total frame move means you have, if you time it correctly, you can like make it whiff right before their wake up and then do something tricky afterwards. Something that I like to do on wake up is 66B, 66B. Because 66B is excellent on block, it's -2, which leaves you at perfect frame advantage for a tick throw. You can also do this and just throw. This into walk back. You've got a lot of options. So, do it again. See, meaty 66B there. And then you can just get an immediate throw. Let's do a 66B delayed throw. There. You can get a little bit tricky with it. Another one that is relatively common is this. This looks very visually confusing to your opponent. So if you do like dash forward that, you're still plus enough to meaty with a 5A. And it also leaves you at like kind of this perfect spaced 5A range. So if you want to be at that range anyways, you can do a little kickflip if you want to look cute. Just waste some 5A there. Have to dash. Yeah, probably have to dash. I don't know if I timed it perfectly there, but it's pretty tight to get it correctly, to get it like timed perfectly and spaced perfectly. But if you like doing J2C a lot, there you go. Probably also like do it forward if you wanted to. But this section is just supposed to introduce the idea of a frame kill. You can do a lot of stuff here, experiment with her moves, start whiffing stuff, and then you know, see what you like. Do like meaty 3C or something like that. That could be funny. Anyways, speaking of meaty buttons, next option we're going to talk about is meaty 6B. Whoops, I accidentally meaty dash B dress. That's not very good. If you do it correctly, like it's pretty easy to time manually, or you can just do like micro dash 6B like that. You just want to make sure you delay it a little bit so you don't get 6B, but yeah, you can do a meaty 6B on their wake up. Be careful with this option in particular because they can delay tech. For all of these options, keep in mind that your opponent can delay tech, and if they do it, that is fine. You can still just react to their wake up and meaty them anyways. This is the first setup, the 6B, where you can actually get punished if they delay tech. Because 6B is a 51 frame like total move. If they delay their wake up to where make the 6B whiff, then they can just mash on you and like actually punish you for going for it. So be very careful with this one. As with every time you use 6B, you should be making sure that you're not doing something that's gimmicky. So yeah, so that's going to be our Oki options off of this 2-on-4B knockdown. Next, I'll show the same damage ender that we did earlier, which was 660, 214A, 4A. This is still our max damage ender, and it still does allow an air tech, so... Wait, yeah, okay, sorry. I'll show what it looks like when they forward tech. There you go. If they forward tech, they can get out of the corner, and that's no good. But if you perfectly time a J2C, see, I did not perfectly time it. If you perfectly time it, you can be up to +3, something like that. Yeah, I did too early. Yeah, +1. Woo! So yeah, if you want to use your max damage ender in the corner, and then how it works is when Orie jumps back, like her collision box stops your opponent from being able to like pass through her on the forward tech. That's how a lot of like air tech setups work in this game, is it's collision box shenanigans stopping them from being able to tech out of the corner. With that being said, this is a pretty niche setup. I wouldn't trust myself to do a perfect 7J2C off of this in tournament. It's definitely manually timed, and if you do it perfectly and they forward tech, you can be, you know, +1 or -4 or +3. It's pretty variable. It's not the most consistent setup, but it does the most damage. So if you're curious about it, there you go. Okay, next we're getting to some real corner Oki, the 660 Seer Ender. So mid-screen, your Oki off of Seer Ender is like whatever. You can do 2-2 or you can do meaty. And those are both like okay options, but they have a lot of counterplay. Corner Seer Ender is a different story. This one is pretty darn good. I'll start off with showing the microdash back jump setup. So Seer Ender is always going to be +47 on knockdown. That means that if you tried to just do a back JC, you'd be 2+ for it, because jump is around 45 frames in this game. So if you do a microdash forward then jump, you can do a delay JC, and it's going to safe jump a lot of wake-up options from your opponent. I don't have to do a full combo for this, I'll just do that. But yeah, that's what that looks like. And you don't have to buffer the J214, the ASAN there. I usually do, but you don't have to. But as you can see, they wake up into it, and they've got a block. And if they do a wake up DP, oh, maybe it's better than I thought. Yeah, that's what it should look like, but that's the danger of buffering the air ASAN. You get it. DP punish. It's a safe jump. Against most actual DPs. What it's not a safe jump against is stuff like Orie Sacred Spire. Turn off. Yeah. Okay. Oh, they don't have meter. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Okay, let's try that again. you're just going to get smoked. So, the good news is all the horizontal reversals that can beat that, they are all metered, so you can kind of get an idea of when they're coming. And also, Orie has good ways to kind of bait them. Because she's just in the air, she can do stuff like, FF. I kind of did a poor job showing it there, but if you do up back, you can either do delay A stand, or you can just, that's if you don't see the super flash, or if you do see super flash, you just land and block. Land and block. Yep, sure, I can do that. So those are your like options against horizontal reversals. The other thing about safe jumps in this game is, okay, cool, you get a JC that is pretty plus on block, but what if they just start stand shielding it? This one is pretty easy to deal with. So there you go. This land 2C, it's gonna kill them for doing a stand shield on that. Another really important thing to do, or to keep in mind for this is contact. I don't know how to make them do delay tech. What if I just record the other Orie doing it? Yeah, I'll just do that. So here I'm going to do a delay tech. See, I tried to delay to get out of the JC. That would have avoided the JC, but if you can literally just jump back and wait for to see that they were delay teching and just do a delayed A stand or B stand, and because it stalls Orie in the air, it'll hit all delay tech timings and it will leave you plus 10 to plus 13 on block. It's a very nice option to beat delay tech, which is a really powerful tool to get out of a lot of Oki setups in this game. Okay, so that'll do it for the Steer Ender safe jump setup. Really powerful. I definitely recommend using it. It's one of the most powerful and consistent Oki setups she can have. You can also get cute doing stuff like, you know, assault, like dash assault, and if you can actually time it, you can get a double overhead, but it can be a little bit tight. Or you can do like this into empty jump low. You can just do land nothing, throw them. Orie has options there, and it's pretty difficult for your opponent to interact with, so I recommend learning that setup and then kind of experimenting with it in game. You'll find a lot of stuff, I'm sure. I had to add a section in here for my beloved 6xB frame kills. There you go. I love 6xB frame kills, and if they're used to seeing 6xB into meaty from your regular knockdowns, then when you do Steer Ender, since it's so much frame advantage, you can do that into throw. And that throw is landing for the first time. The first time you do that throw, it's usually landing. So, I love that option, so I had to put it in there. Next, we're going to go over 2-2X in the corner. This option is a little bit dicier than the mid-screen one, honestly. So you might be thinking, oh, I get all this frame advantage in the corner, I can just set this safely, and it's great. The issue is that Seer Ender puts you right next to your opponent. And when you do this, remember that Orb does not hit meaty. That means your opponent's going to be actionable for, like, let's say 5 frames on their wake up. You have to set the 2-2 immediately, and then you have to block for those 5 frames, or those 10 frames, however long it is, before the orb activates. So if they do a regular, like, wake up button mash, that's pretty easy. We can deal with that. But what if they do something like throw? See there, I tried to walk back. I just held back trying to avoid the throw, but wake up throw just lands, and I have to deal with it. And also if they do something like wake up 2C. Oh, it's, yeah, don't quite have the frames for it, but I bet crouch 2A would hit. Yeah, see, 2A fast enough to catch me walking back. So, walking back sucks. You can get thrown, you can get 2A'd. It's just kind of an annoying gamble. The other annoying thing is dealing with roll on wake up after this is pretty difficult if you... Oops. You can react and do that, but it is annoying. So there's a setup to deal with both the wake up throw and the wake up 2A and the wake up roll. So I'll do this. Whoops. Actually, let's start with, yeah, wake up 2A. That one just gets counter hit. You can confirm off that if you are awake, unlike me. Also, if you... Ah, messed it up there. Yeah, messing it up. There you go. So if you do 2-2A into a perfect J2C, you can throw the roll, avoid the throw, avoid the 2A, and still capitalize off the 2-2 meaty. And you're like, okay, perfect. That seems like a difficult setup, but worth it. The issue is... if you try to do this J2C setup, you just open yourself up to getting DP'd, or even, I think 3B might even work. Let's try it. Yep. So, what this means is anytime you do Seer Ender 2-2, you just have to play some sort of RPS if your opponent really knows what's going on with this setup. You are either going to be vulnerable to wake up throw, or wake up low, or wake up DP. And you can do something like this and then delayed throw, but then you're not taking advantage of... that's pretty much only covering the wake up throw from your opponent. You're not taking advantage of the 2-2's frame advantage. There's a lot of issues here. You can still do this setup if you'd like, but it's got some problems, and you do have to be aware of your opponent's wake-up options. And also, even if it hits, like, this is not the craziest, like, advantage you can get. It's plus 28 on block, but I think, honestly, like, meaty 5A and meaty 2A are just kind of better options. And so is the safe jump. Because the safe jump is also very safe, much harder for your opponent to interact with than just doing the 2T off the corner. But this next setup is a corner setup that is going to be a lot better at dealing with your opponent's options. So yeah. Whoops. I messed it up. I'm just gonna do this. Messed up the timing a little bit. I think I was just a tad bit early. I'm gonna have to do off the full combo, I think. Sometimes I can mess with spacing, I guess. What I'm trying to do here is do A thrust in with cancel into 2-2-C. As you can see, it's pretty tight. Little bit early on the put there. That's what it's supposed to look like. I actually don't think this is making a difference. There we go. So, as you can see, you can back throw them into the 2-2-C and get a full combo. It's a very pro-ready combo, but it is a full combo. Which you might be thinking, wow, that's sick. But they can just tech the throw. But this setup has a lot more going on than that. So, what you do is you time the 2-2-C in a way where you can just crouch for a second while they're on their wake up, do nothing, and then press 1AD. That's what I'm doing. Why is that important? It's because I'm blocking until throw protection runs out, and then I'm back throwing them. That means if they try to wake up throw me in response, they are going to... I'm going to tech their throw. And then... So, you can't get out of the setup by throwing me, you can't get out of the setup by DPing or mashing, so you pretty much just have to guess on the throw tech. And if you take the throw, there's a big reward. So they might say, okay, well, what's the issue? Why don't they just tech the throw? And I'll show what that looks like. You are plus 46. The 2-2-C still goes off, even if they take the throw, and you're very plus, you can get a mix-up off of that. Do dash 6B, you can do that. So you can represent, you can just do this setup, which is the with A thrust into 2-2-C, like that. And if it's timed correctly, you can represent throw, you can represent overhead, and even if they tech the throw, it is still your turn, and you still get a mix-up afterwards. So, it's a very powerful setup. I think this is probably the strongest, like, mix situation Orie has. Just in my opinion. Because your opponent doesn't have any good options, and you have several high-reward, safe ways to mix them up. the best thing your opponent can do here is delay tech, and if they do that, you're not going to be able to do the throw mix-up because they can just delay their wake-up until they're already inside the 2-2-C. If you're at that point, you're just going to have to do your regular 2-2-C mix, which is going to be like 6B versus 4C 2AA. If you don't know, 4C 2AA looks very similar to 6B, so anytime you get them blocking one of these, mix up between that and that. And you want to do 4C 2AA because it'll blow up people like fuzzy blocking low than high. So yeah, that is the 2-2, the whiffed A thrust 2-2-C set up in the corner. It's pretty much only off of C-render, and it is tricky to do. As you could tell, I messed it up quite a few times there. Man, okay, I'm gonna get it one more time. My execution just falls off the cliff after like 30 minutes there. So very cool setup. Probably your strongest option off of C-render, probably your strongest way to spend meter, but practice that because it is pretty tricky to do. I've heard like levelless players think it's a lot easier because they can do just like 2-3-6A, 2C. Like that. Oh wow, that is a lot easier. Oh. Anyways, that's your best meter setup in the corner if you have meter and you want to make your opponent guess. Let's go to another setup that I like a lot. For this one, we'll be showing it against Veil Off. So this is, earlier I talked about air tech enders, and here the opponent is still set to tech forward. So that means if I don't do anything, I think I have to go full combo. Full combo. Alright. They can go over me, right? But, if I just immediately jump, they cannot go over me, because the collision box keeps them in the corner. Well, why is that useful? It's useful because if you do your last bounce, you do 2C B thrust just like that, you can keep them in the corner when you do a neutral jump and then do a falling JC. And against some characters, it is a safe jump. So I'm going to do that setup now. I'm going to have the Orie reversal Veil Off. How did I miss that punish? Anyways, you see, it safe jumps Veil Off. It also loses, it beats people trying to do an anti-air, and it beats slow DPs. So you see Orie's DP, which is, that one is 8 frames, BDP is 8 frames. It's also a safe jump against that. But if I go to a character like Hyde and have them do he has a 5-frame DP, it's just going to punish me every time. So this safe jump is really good against characters with slow reversals. Yuzu, Chaos, Hilda, Kuon, and Laundrekia, they can do nothing about this. There is nothing in their kit that they can hit to stop you from doing this. Go to Kuon, there, and his fastest flash kick, A, Can't believe I'm missing these punishes. But you see, it is an actual safe jump against those characters. They can also kind of like delay tech, and then it's kind of a wash. But if they try to immediate tech, you can safe jump them and get full pressure, and that's very useful to like mitigate maybe Kuon or Landrekia who have Vorpal on Wake Up, and you don't want to meaty them regularly. You can just do this safe jump setup. And as always, if they try to do a stand shield, you can do that. And also, because this JC doesn't exactly hit meaty, it's a little bit delayed, that means you can do stuff like this. Just land throw, land low, stuff like that. And it's only real because they have to respect the safe jump. Fuzzy Mash is still good. Fuzzy Throw Tech is still okay. If you get really deep into the layers, you can do like land 3C or something to blow up their mash. But this is, I think, a very powerful and important option against characters with bad reversals. So the following characters cannot do anything about this: Yuzu, Chaos, Kuon, Hilda, and Landrekia. Other characters have to hold this unless they have meter. So Gordo, Seth, Byakuya, Izuki, and Carmine. If they have less than 100 meter, they also just have to hold this safe jump. So I recommend learning this. I think this one is pretty good. Nice way to get consistent Oki against a few of the more annoying characters in the cast. Okay, and our last meterless or last corner Oki setup is going to be 2C delay 2-2A. Let me get back to Orie. So earlier we did the steer ender 2-2A, and we talked about the RPS situation here and how it's not great. Interestingly enough, 2C delay 2-2A actually just is significantly better Oki. So I'm gonna do that. Wait. That's not a cool combo. Do that. So that would be what the setup looks like. And we'll see, like, have them crouch like 2A and have them see, you can just walk back and avoid it. So this is nice because the 2C leaves you spaced out, and you can get your regular 2-2 Oki like you'd prefer to. The big disadvantage of this one is you kind of saw I had to do a really shitty combo to get here. There's not that many combos in the corner where you have a bounce left over. I guess you could do it like that. It's not going to lose that much damage, but it does lose a significant amount over 6-6C, 2 and 4B. Like, that one did 3,100. This does 2,900, and those aren't even corner combos, so, like... Yeah, if I do the regular... Wait, no, I can do... Few combos, I swear. That only does 3,200, which you're losing about 150 damage, maybe 100 damage, depending on the route you do. Which is a pretty significant cost, but this is a setup that, like, costs no grid, gives you a very safe and stable 2-2A Oki in the corner. So it's worth knowing about. Okay, now we are on to metered enders. So in Uni 1, Orie had a lot of different varied like options to end her combos that could give you different amounts of damage or Oki or screen positioning, and there were some pretty interesting decisions to be made. But in Uni 2, they gave her an extremely good ender, so I'll show it here. Whoa, actually dropped it. Never dropped that. Yeah. There we go. That's the full extension. It adds about 500 damage, and it gives you excellent corner carry and excellent Oki. The advantage of it is it lets you do 6-6C double A thrust, like 2 through 6A, 6A, which adds a significant amount of damage and brings you close to the corner. And then you cancel it with this, and another 6-6C, and then another steer ender. So it gives you a pretty ridiculous amount of corner carry, and also does excellent damage, and also gives you excellent Oki. The only issue with this ender is that it costs grid. It costs grid and gives your opponent meter because it uses 5 AB. Other than that, it's pretty incredible. Like, you can pretty much go full screen from a lot of hits. So, like, I did something like get this hit while I'm cornered. They're in the corner now. That started from right here. It goes pretty much full screen once you factor Oki into it. So, extremely powerful tool to have. The next option you have off the 2-on-4 BC is just doing a B thrust. Like that. It does a little bit more damage. You still get very good Oki. You're plus 40 here, but it sideswaps mid-screen, so that's not great. Because a lot of Orie's combos like have their max damage kind of like sideswaps, and you just kind of mid-screen forever until you do a combo that's focused on corner carry. So that is not great, but it does not have that weakness in the corner. Plus 41 right in their face, and it adds a ton of damage. So that's your premier like damage option. You can also like, even if you want to, you can do something like this. Oh, I dropped it. Oh wait, I need to make sure I have meter or CS. Do something like that. If you need a double super route to kill, that is going to save a lot more meter than just dumping 200 immediately. So, very versatile, high damaging extension there with the charge B thrust. Last thing you can do off of it is you just let the animation play out. Concentrate. You get to concentrate for about 2 whole seconds. You're plus 100 if you just let the 2-on-4 BC animation play out. So, extremely strong option there. You just want to secure cycle. And our last kind of metered cash out option is just going right into super. That's going to be the max damage extension. You can link 2-2A 6-6C C-Render. Does a lot of damage, and you can still get corner carry. So that super is also an incredible crash out this version, you usually only want to do it to kill, but sometimes you have VO or you have Celestial. So there are times when you want to route into IW, and so it's useful to know the corner carry and Oki setups off of it. Also, the same setup, you can just do IWEX. Oh, right, don't have a... not under 30. There you go. It's also actually a little bit more damage if you do double A stand. But that will whiff mid-screen, as you can see. And it also did about like 50 more damage. In the corner, though... That takes so long to buffer. There you go. So yeah, those are going to be your super cash outs. And last little section here for Sideswap routes and enders. Orie has a lot of good Sideswap routes if you want to learn them. She also has some easy stuff. So the easiest thing she can do is just do a regular combo into your 2 and 4B knockdown, and then just 2FF afterwards. There you go. Now you're on the other side, and you're still plus, you can get a dash 5A or something. Go crazy. Really easy. You're gonna be about +9, and they can, like, back tech to, like, avoid, like, really good Oki. You're still +9 there. You're not going to be able to... I think the only thing you'll actually be able to frame trap them with is, like, 660, but that's a very, very easy Sideswap option if you just want to not be in the corner anymore. Next up, let's do the 5A meterless Sideswap. If you can learn that route and do it, it's going to be extremely good for you. That's 3.2k meterless Sideswap with good Oki off 5A. Very strong. Next, we'll do the Sideswap off of good starters. So, off of this one, this is going to be any starter that's like counter hit jump in, grid break jump in, B or C normal, into, you know, just your regular confirm. So I'm going to do it from 5B. Nothing super flashy, but it does Sideswap meterlessly, and that's pretty nice. So for this combo, you might have recognized I did 2C 4C instead of 5C 4C like I would normally do. The reason for that is 5C moves you forward a little bit, so the 2B B thrust is going to drop unless you do a micro walk back. So yeah, if you do 2C 4C, you can just do 2B B thrust and the route works. If you do 5C 4C, you have to micro walk back. But if you do the micro walk combo, it does about 100 more damage. I personally think that's very, very droppable. So I usually will just do the 2C 4C route if I'm trying to Sideswap off a hit like this specifically. Next is a very easy Sideswap route, which you just do your regular combo and then a C thrust at the end and Sideswap off it. I'll show what that looks like. There you go. So for this one, you want to do a 2 and 4B and wait for them to hit the ground and then just C thrust. Then 660 steer ender. It costs meter. It costs grid because you end with a steer ender. But this one is really easy. You can do it off of pretty much any combo she has. There you go. Yeah. So there's that one. That is the easy metered side swap, and now I'm gonna try to do the hard metered side swap. This one is significantly more damage, significantly higher execution too. So let's see if I can get it. Oh, I gotta jump back. B-thrust buffer. There we go. A lot going on for that ender. What you want to do is 6-6 into charge B thrust, and then cancel it as soon as the B thrust comes out. You sideswap them and immediately cancel into 2-4 BC. It's important that you juggle them with the JB, and that's because if you do this off a normal B&B, you do not have any more bounces. That means if they 6-6, if the 2-4 BC slams them into the ground, the combo's over. I'll show what that looks like. See, it just drops. So that's why you need to do a neutral jump JB to keep them in the air, juggle them, and then buffer 6-6 as you hit the ground, and then do the surrender. That's what it looks like if you do it perfectly. This one's tough. It's tough because that is tighter than you'd like it to be. I like to buffer the 2-4, like the 2-3-6. You do charge B thrust, and then I buffer another quarter circle forward, and then try to hit BC when you see the flash of the charged B thrust. Because you do need to be instant. See, if you get a little bit, this one's good. But if you get if you're out here, the setup just is not going to work. You can try to jump forward JB, but then your spacing is going to be off the 6-6C. The combo will just drop. So this one's pretty tricky, but very cool, very high damage combo. I'm going to try to do it one more time. There we go. And there you go. And if you do that, you're really cooking with Orie's routing. So I hope this video was helpful. Orie has a lot of ways to choose how much damage she does, what kind of Oki she does, what kind of corner carry she gets, whether she's side swapping, whether she's spending meter. So hopefully this guide showed you a few of her different options, and you can have some more effective, less risky Oki in the future. See you next time.